In this module, we're diving into one of the most powerful and game-changing capabilities of Microsoft 365 Copilot, AI-powered chat. This is where Copilot becomes your real-time partner for thinking, creating, and getting things done. You'll see how conversational prompts can help you summarize complex documents, brainstorm new ideas, explore data trends, and even guide you through tasks across apps like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Teams, and more, all without switching context. Whether you're trying to unlock insights faster or spark creativity when you're starting with a blank page, Copilot Chat brings speed, clarity, and momentum right when you need it. Throughout this module, you'll learn best practices that help you to get the most out of AI-powered chat. In this module, we'll break down how Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat becomes your powerful command center for productivity, bringing together AI-powered reasoning, Microsoft Graph context, and seamless integration across apps like Teams, Outlook, Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. First, you'll learn the foundations of Copilot Chat, what it is, how it works, and why it's different from a traditional chatbot. Then we'll dive deeper into work-grounded and web-grounded intelligence, showing how Copilot blends your Microsoft 365 data with broader knowledge to produce accurate, context-rich answers. You'll learn best practices for knowing when to use web-grounded chat for research, analysis, and planning, and more. Finally, you'll put these skills into action with hands-on exercises using Copilot Chat to prepare you for an interview, showcasing how AI can help you think strategically, structure responses, and boost confidence. By the end of the module, you'll know how to turn conversational prompts into real productivity, creativity, and impact across your day-to-day work. Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat is an advanced AI-powered assistant designed to supercharge your productivity by working right alongside you, understanding your priorities, your organization's context, and the content you use every day. It begins with secure AI chat, ensuring every interaction respects your Microsoft Graph permissions, so Copilot only assesses the files, emails, meetings, and chats you're already authorized to see. This makes it a powerful tool for business scenarios like preparing customer updates, reviewing sensitive project information, or quickly catching up on missed discussions. Copilot Chat also elevates collaboration, allowing teams to share prompts, co-create content, and even use agents to accelerate cross-functional work. Whether you're aligning on a project, planning a meeting, or consolidating team insights, Copilot helps everyone stay in sync with speed and clarity. What sets Copilot Chat apart is its ability to provide interactive assistance, answering questions, finding information, and completing tasks by interacting directly with your work content. Need to extract trends from an Excel workbook? Turn meeting notes into a crisp summary, or locate a document buried in your files? Just ask. With content creation, Copilot drafts emails, generates documents, summarizes long materials, and even creates images, helping you to move from idea to polished output faster than ever. And underlying all of this is the power of a unified solution, one place where employees can manage tasks, explore information, generate new content, and blend work-grounded and web-grounded intelligence, all without switching apps. Best practice here is to think of Copilot as your conversational command center. Iterate with it, refine prompts, and let it handle the operational load so you can focus on higher value thinking and execution. Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat is a powerful, enterprise-ready AI assistant that evaluates teamwork and productivity by combining graph-grounded search, and web-grounded intelligence, along with secure permissions and deep integration across the Microsoft 365 ecosystem. With Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat, users gain access to web-grounded chat, enabling research, competitive analysis, content exploration, and industry insight within the safety of Microsoft's AI protections. Businesses can also take advantage of agent capabilities, creating custom agents that empower employee IT questions, supporting onboarding, acting as a research assistant, or even providing HR guidance, all managed through IT-controlled governance, data protection, and agent-level policies. Best practice here is to keep your content in OneDrive or SharePoint and adopt clear prompting techniques so Copilot can retrieve accurate, permissioned answers grounded in both organizational data and on the web. This slide also highlights how Copilot Chat differs based on licensing. With an M365 subscription, users unlock the full range of Copilot Chat capabilities: graph-grounded search across files, chats, meetings, emails, people, and organizational knowledge, web-grounded analysis, and seamless integration across Word, Excel, Teams, PowerPoint, Outlook, and more. Copilot Pro users will enjoy similar features but gain premium creative benefits, like 100 boosts per day with Microsoft Designer for generating, editing, and resizing AI images. Meanwhile, the broader Copilot control system supports IT with enterprise data protection, usage analysis, and agent management to ensure safe and governed adoption. Best practice here is to choose the license that best matches the employee roles. Heavy content creators benefit from Copilot Pro, while enterprise users can leverage the Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat for secure cross-organization intelligence. Together, these features create a unified, intelligent solution that empowers every employee to work smarter, faster, and more creatively. Now let's focus on breaking down exactly what Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat is and why it's becoming one of the most powerful tools in modern work. Copilot Chat isn't just another chatbot, it's an AI-powered partner that understands your priorities, connects to your organizational data through Microsoft Graph, and helps you work smarter across files, meetings, emails, chats, and even the web. In this part of the module, you'll get a clearer picture of how Copilot Chat enhances productivity, boosts creativity, and streamlines workflows. Whether you're looking for quick answers, generating new content, collaborating with your team, or managing tasks without switching apps, this section will show you how Copilot Chat brings it all together into one seamless, intelligent experience. Here we see how Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat sits at the very center of the entire Copilot experience, acting as your primary hub for interacting with AI across your workday. It's grounded in both work data, which is your emails, chats, files, meetings, and web data, giving you insights that are both contextually relevant and broadly informed. Because Copilot Chat is built directly into the apps you already use, Teams, Outlook, M365, and Microsoft Edge, and more, you can access it wherever you're working without switching tools. This means you can ask Copilot to summarize email threads in Outlook, draft content in Word, surface meeting insights from Teams, or research topics in Edge. Copilot Chat can also be used from the Teams interface, where it becomes a powerful productivity-boosting sidekick. From here, you can pull insights from chats, generate summaries, brainstorm ideas, automate steps, or retrieve files, all through natural language prompts. Copilot helps you to stay connected, creative, and efficient by interacting seamlessly with the information you already work with every day. Best practice here is to treat Copilot Chat as your conversational command center. Ask follow-up questions, refine your prompts, and let it accelerate your work with clarity and confidence. The Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat interface is designed to help you move seamlessly between organizational insights and general web-based questions. Work mode taps into your Microsoft 365 content, emails, files, meetings, and more, making it perfect for tasks like preparing project updates, writing summaries, or analyzing documents. Web mode is ideal when you need general knowledge, trend insights, or quick research without touching your work data. If you're unsure how to start, suggested prompts gives you a ready-to-use examples that you can run as is or customize. The prompt box is where you craft your instructions, and you can add content, files, emails, or meeting notes to give Copilot richer context and more accurate output. Along the right side, Start a New Chat lets you clear your workspace and reset your thinking. Access and Create Agent helps you to manage task-specific agents, for example, a content rewriting agent or an exam prep agent used for repeatable workflows. The Copilot Prompt Gallery provides curated prompts and reusable patterns that promote consistency and best practices across teams, especially useful for trainers, analysts, and project managers. Finally, Chat with an agent adds automation and specialization to your conversation, while the Send button executes your prompt. A best practice here: choose the mode intentionally. Attach context when accuracy matters. Save prompts that you use often, and leverage agents to streamline recurring tasks like generating reports, drafting communications, or analyzing data, and more. Copilot Chat works by integrating data from across Microsoft 365, documents, presentations, emails, calendars, notes, and Teams conversations to create a unified information hub. Instead of digging through folders or searching endless email threads, you can ask questions like, "Can you gather all documents related to the XYZ project?" And Copilot instantly pulls everything together. This integration shines when you prepare a client pitch, draft a report, or getting up to speed on a project you've inherited. A best practice is to frame your prompts clearly and use project names, people, or dates so Copilot can deliver highly targeted results. Copilot doesn't just aggregate content, it organizes and surfaces what matters, transforming scattered information into actionable insights. Beyond integration, Copilot provides contextual intelligence to help you make better decisions. When you ask, "What are the key points from all email exchanges regarding the Q1 report?" Copilot synthesizes conversations, files, and meeting notes to give you a complete, accurate, and structured summary. This is especially powerful before meetings, during content creation, or when onboarding to fast-moving initiatives. By pulling in context you may have forgotten or missed, Copilot enhances both your efficiency in communication and your ability to respond confidently with a full picture. A best practice is to use the prompts that reference recent interactions, like, "Show me all conversations between me and my manager about," and you can name the project, "in the last week." So Copilot can surface the most relevant insights and streamline your workflow. Now we see how Copilot Chat continuously improves through 3 core behaviors: learning from interactions, integrating your feedback, and adopting to your communication style. As you work, Copilot Chat observes how you phrase requests, the types of outputs you prefer, and the corrections that you make. For example, if you ask Copilot to draft an email and then refine the tone or structure, Copilot uses that feedback to adjust future drafts. This creates a dynamic learning loop where the assistant becomes more aligned to your needs with every interaction. A best practice is to provide clear, specific feedback, such as make this more concise or rewrite this in a professional tone, so Copilot can more accurately adapt and improve. Because it learns over time, Copilot evolves into an adaptive assistant that understands your workflow and anticipates your preferences. The more you use it for tasks like summarizing meetings, generating reports, or preparing client-ready content, the more personalized, accurate, and efficient the responses become. In real-world use cases such as preparing for a presentation or drafting recurring communications, this continuous learning dramatically reduces effort while improving consistency and quality. In short, every interaction trains Copilot to support you better, turning it into a smarter, faster, more intuitive partner in your day-to-day work. Here we see a comparison between work mode and web mode, showing each one supports different parts of your workflow. In work mode, Copilot Chat is grounded in your Microsoft 365 data, your files, emails, Teams meetings, calendars, and notes, plus the large language model. If enabled, it can also incorporate Bing search index and live web content. This makes work mode ideal for drafting emails, creating documents, summarizing meetings, managing your calendar, or even collaborating with colleagues on active projects. Think of it as your productivity command center, like draft an email to my team summarizing yesterday's meetings, or pull all documents related to the Contoso proposal, or even create a project plan from last week's notes. A best practice is to use work mode whenever your prompt depends on internal content and context, people, data that you need to access. In contrast, web mode relies solely on the Bing search index and the large language model, and also live web content if enabled. Never your Microsoft 365 data. This makes it perfect for researching trends, finding public resources, exploring new topics, or staying updated on industry news. Like, what are the latest updates in Zero Trust? Or summarize current market trends for AI adoption. The magic is how easily you can switch between work and web depending on whether you need internal relevance or external insight without compromising security. Both modes include enterprise-grade privacy, compliance, and data protection. Together, they let you seamlessly jump between creating work-based outputs and researching from the public web, streamlining your day and removing context-switching friction. Copilot Chat can be accessed directly from Microsoft Teams, giving you a seamless way to pull your work data together: documents, presentations, emails, calendars, notes, and contacts into the same place where collaboration already happens. Unlike Copilot Chat in Teams, which assists inside meetings and chats, Copilot Chat is a separate experience open from the Copilot icon in the Teams app. Once inside, you could instantly toggle between work mode and web mode. For example, in work mode, you might type, "Summarize my recent unread messages from," you can name the person. Copilot will automatically retrieve and cite the relevant messages so that you can work faster without having to manually search. A best practice here is always review the cited sources to ensure accuracy and stay in control of your output. From there, using Copilot Chat in Teams becomes part of your everyday workflow. After typing your prompt into the message Copilot box, simply select Send, and you'll receive a grounded, contextual response that draws from your organizational data, perfect for catching up summaries, drafting email replies, or prepping for project meetings. You can switch to the web mode when you need external research, industry updates, or public insights. This integration enhances productivity because you never have to leave teams to gather information, draft content, or even prepare for a conversation. Use cases here include quickly reviewing project history before a call, pulling documents during a live discussion, or generating a summary after a busy day. The result is a smoother, more consolidated workflow powered by an AI assistant that keeps your data secure while helping you work smarter. Now let's unlock the full power of Copilot by letting it work with the data that matters most, your data. When Copilot is grounded in your work content, it can streamline your day, anticipate your needs, and help you move from insight to action faster than ever. Get ready to optimize your workflow with responses that are smarter, more contextual, and perfectly aligned to what you're working on. Now let's look closer into what work mode enables inside Copilot Chat. Powerful task management, secure access to your Microsoft 365 data, and contextual insights grounded in your business content. When you switch to work mode, Copilot Chat can help you catch up on missed tasks, unread emails, and meetings right from the Teams interface. No tab switching required. You can quickly prompt it to find supporting documents, summarize conversations, or draft content based on your files and messages. This works because your prompts are grounded in the large language model and contextualized with your organizational data through Microsoft Graph, which pulls in the exact information you're authorized to access. Here is a practical use case. Maybe you want to ask it to summarize my recent unread messages from name the person and draft a response. Copilot will immediately gather the data, it'll cite its sources, and it will help you act faster. At the core of work mode is enterprise-grade data security. Copilot follows strict privacy and compliance rules, so only the files, sites, and conversations you already have permission to access are available to you, nothing more. All content created through Copilot remains protected, and only people you explicitly grant access to can view it. When you combine this with contextual insights, this makes work mode a trusted space to generate reports, prepare for critical meetings, or pull insights from large volumes of information. A best practice here is to always review the cited sources in Copilot's responses for accuracy and alignment. With this foundation, work mode becomes your secure productivity engine, helping you to turn organizational knowledge into action confidently and efficiently. Here we see how Microsoft Graph empowers Copilot by acting as the connective tissue across all your Microsoft 365 services like Teams, Outlook, OneDrive, SharePoint, calendars, files, chats, and more. Microsoft Graph brings all of this information together so you don't have to jump between apps to find what you need. When you use Copilot, Microsoft Graph synthesizes data from emails, chats, meetings, notes, and documents inside your tenant and brings it directly into your prompt. This means Copilot can surface insights like summarize all documents related to the Q2 review, or what decisions were made in our last week's project meetings, all of this without you doing the searching. A best practice is to write prompts that reference people, projects, or time ranges so Microsoft Graph can retrieve the most relevant organizational context. What makes this powerful and safe is that Microsoft Graph respects your existing permissions and security settings. Copilot can only access the data you already have access to, and every response is grounded in your tenant's compliance and privacy rules. So if you don't have access to a document, Copilot doesn't either. This ensures secure, trustworthy, AI-generated output while unlocking high-value use cases like preparing for meetings, catching up on project history, or generating summaries across apps. With Microsoft Graph handling the heavy lifting behind the scenes, Copilot becomes a centralized, intelligent assistant that brings the right information to you at the right time, securely and effortlessly. Here we see the Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat interface in work mode, where Copilot becomes your personal productivity engine by using your organization's data to power real work. At the top, you can switch between work and web modes. But in work mode, Copilot grounds its responses in your emails, files, meetings, chats, and calendar to help you take action quickly. The center tiles like get calendar info, prep for that meeting, understand the main points, check Teams mentions, and jump start a draft give you instant, practical starting points for common tasks. These prompts are designed for efficiency, summarizing unread messages, preparing meeting briefs, and drafting content from a file, or even generating ideas without switching apps. A best practice is to start with these suggested prompts and then tailor them using specific people, dates, or project names for higher accuracy. On the right, you'll find your agents and coaches, such as the writing coach, the meeting coach, the idea coach, the prompt coach, and more, specialized helpers that guide you through repeatable workflows or improve the quality of your output. Below them, the Create an Agent option lets you build reusable task-specific agents that save time for recurring tasks like producing weekly status reports or drafting customer-ready summaries. The Message Copilot box at the bottom is where you enter your prompt, and you can attach files using Add Content to ground Copilot even more deeply in your context. This interface brings everything together so you can catch up, create, plan, and analyze, all without leading teams. This slide shows how Copilot Chat in work mode becomes your command center for staying ahead of your communications and daily workload. The use case prompts on the left highlight exactly what work-grounded Copilot excels at: summarizing emails and team chats, preparing you for upcoming meetings, drafting status updates, and analyzing project risks, all based on the real context of your work. Because Copilot Chat is grounded in your organizational data, it can surface insights across your files, emails, messages, meetings, and more, and help you move quickly from information to action. So a best practice to keep in mind is to be as specific with your prompts as possible. Include people, timeframes, projects by name. All are going to help Copilot retrieve the most relevant signals through Microsoft Graph. On the right, the slide breaks down 4 key benefits: streamlined communication, email and chat summarization, meeting preparation, and draft updates. These functions make Copilot an everyday productivity accelerator. For example, you can ask it to summarize all emails and chats from the past day and highlight open items, or draft a message to my team with the latest project status. And because AI-generated content can sometimes be incorrect, Copilot provides cited sources for your review. This is an essential best practice to maintain accuracy and accountability. Together, these capabilities make work mode a reliable way to stay informed, reducing manual effort and keeping projects moving with confidence. Let's talk now about how to unlock even more value from Copilot by tapping into trusted, web-grounded data. In this section, we're going to learn how Copilot can deliver insights for rich answers, clearer context, and faster decision-making right when you need it. Let's look at the benefits of web mode. as we highlight how Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat helps you work smarter. Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat offers a secure, enterprise-ready AI, enabling you to streamline your workflow and make data decisions in a consistent and familiar interface. When you use the web-grounded data, the use case potential is immense. Market research, competitive analysis, content creation, policy comparisons, and more. Here we emphasize the power of file uploads. By uploading a Word, Excel, or PowerPoint file directly into Copilot Chat, you can summarize lengthy documents, analyze spreadsheet patterns, and extract insights and generate improved slides, all without switching apps. This is especially useful for analysts and content creators who need quick synthesis or quality checks. Finally, Copilot Chat integrates enterprise-grade security with encryption in transit and at rest, ensuring your data stays protected. Web-grounded mode cannot access your personal documents unless you intentionally upload them, an important safeguard and a best practice for maintaining control over your content. Finding information on the web can be easy using Copilot Chat with web grounding to help you quickly find reliable, up-to-date information on the web, whether you're looking for general knowledge, breaking news, or fast summaries. General information and summaries are one of the most powerful use cases. You can ask Copilot Chat to find recent announcements about a product, summarize what a CEO said about a situation, or explain the latest developments in a field, all within a secure, familiar M365 interface. This is perfect for staying informed before a customer meeting, preparing content, or validating information from multiple sources. A best practice here is to ask focused, specific questions like, summarize the top 3 updates from, and you name the source, to get concise, actionable insights. Market research highlights how Copilot Chat can scan the web to gather competitor insights, compare suppliers, and surface emerging trends in your industry. Whether you're analyzing market shifts, comparing pricing models, or preparing a strategic briefing, Copilot Chat can assemble the information quickly and cleanly. This is especially helpful when you need a rapid readout on a company, upcoming features, or industry movements. A sample prompt here could be, compare these 3 suppliers, focusing on reliability and contract flexibility. This could get you the results that align better to your decision-making criteria. Copilot Chat with web grounding can also help you find and use information from across the internet for smarter, faster content creation. Let Copilot help you with content creation, like using Copilot Chat to generate blogs, social posts, newsletters, and articles by pulling relevant real-time information from the web. You can ask it what types of posts perform best on a specific social platform, exploring the tone and style trends, or even draft an introduction to a topic using fresh insights. A best practice here is to pair content questions with platform specifics, like what performs best on LinkedIn versus Instagram, so your output matches audience expectations. Whether you're crafting an expert blog, prepping for thought leadership, or analyzing posting patterns before launching a new series, Copilot Chat helps you tailor content to the format, audience, and strategy that works best. For competitive analysis, Copilot Chat can monitor competitor moves, product launches, and strategic updates by gathering information from across the web. You can ask it to identify strengths and weaknesses, summarize new innovations, or compare offerings so you can refine your own roadmap or positioning. This is especially useful when preparing for customer conversations, planning quarterly strategy reviews, or benchmarking against emerging market players. A best practice is to request structured comparisons like summarized pricing, reliability, and feature differences to get analysis you can immediately apply. Together, these capabilities make web grounding Copilot Chat a powerful assistant for research-driven decisions, content creation, and competitive awareness. Here we highlight how Copilot Chat with web grounding supports continuous growth and smarter decision-making through real-time learning insights. For learning and development, Copilot Chat can surface the latest research papers, industry articles, tutorials, and studies, making it a powerful tool for upskilling or staying ahead in fast-moving technical fields. Whether you're exploring advancements in AI, brushing up on new technology, or gathering materials for a training session, Copilot Chat helps you locate authoritative sources quickly. A best practice is to specify the skill level or purpose, like using a prompt like this: beginner tutorials for, or peer-reviewed papers on, to get the most relevant learning pathways. This keeps your development focused, efficient, and grounded in reliable information. Using Copilot for project management can help you plan and execute projects by pulling templates, checklists, case studies, and best practices directly from the web. You can ask it for sample launch plans, methodologies tailored to your project type, or proven strategies used in your industry. This is especially useful when kicking off new initiatives, preparing stakeholder documents, or comparing project approaches. A best practice is to pair your query with the project constraints, the timeline, team size, or methodology, like a sample prompt like this. Provide agile best practices for a 6-person team to get output that you can apply immediately. Together, these capabilities make Copilot Chat a valuable partner for learning, planning, and driving high-quality execution. Now let's try a practical exercise to showcase how using Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat can help you ace your interview. So imagine you're interviewing for a position at Contoso, a medium-sized media-driven company. You've been communicating with the hiring manager via email. Now you want to prepare for the interview. Learn about the team that you'll be working with and draft answers to potential questions that you may be asked. These 6 exercises will guide you through the steps to ensure you're well prepared and confident for your interview. Hello and welcome to our first lab. This first lab is going to focus on how to use Copilot Chat inside of Teams. So if you want to see where you can pick up the instructions for this lab, please do a search on MS-4018 and find a course that you see right here. I'm going to zoom into the URL. And if you need to go ahead and type that in, you can see it's right here. So you can do a search for MS-4018 from Microsoft, or what you should notice is you will have all the curriculum for our class. Besides that, you will have labs. So this is where we're going to go, and I'm going to go ahead and right-click this, and I'm going to choose Open a New tab. When I do that, it opens up our draft and Analyze and Present for Microsoft 365 Chat, and then it includes all of our modules. So as I scroll down, you will see that this is our first module that we talked about, which is an intro to Microsoft 365 Chat in Copilot. We also then went into how to unlock and unleash creativity with AI-powered chat. And this is where our first lab resides. So right here, you can see the exercise. It's an exercise where we're going to have our work for Copilot Chat, and where we're going to work for Copilot Chat inside it. And we're going to use it to ace our interview. So you can click on that, and I'm going to right-click it and choose Open a New tab. Once I do that, here's the exercise. So the exercise focuses in on trying to prepare us for an interview. And what it does is it uses Teams as the source here and then into Copilot Chat. So this is where I'm going to go right now. You can click an online Teams app that should take you to Teams, and you will have to log in to get into it, and your screen could look a little bit like this. I'm inside of Office, and I can go to the app area here, and I can pick up Teams right here. Here's Teams. And you can see there's a lot of apps, but Teams is the one that I'm looking for. So I'm going to go ahead and open that up. Once I click on it, what you will notice is that it's going to pop open Teams for us. And I'm going to do a little bit of moving around a few things here to give us the biggest screen possible. So it does take just a little bit to set things up for us. And what you'll note is that Copilot is here on the right-hand side. When you click that, it does open up a little Copilot Chat here inside of Teams. And I want to use the web version here since I'm going to do research on how to prepare for an interview, a job interview, and how to ace that. And we're going to get some searching done here through the web, and then the large language model from the web that we'll use here for Copilot Chat. So I'm going to click here, and I'm going to have it open in full app. So the web option is the one I want to choose. And then from here, I can start to ask it questions. Now, if you're following along in the lab steps, you should be able to find this prompt. And I'm going to go ahead and have it typed in here for me. And we're going to have it find information about the interviewer. So what we'd have to do is we'd have to have an idea of who the interviewer is. So if I want to ace my job interview, I need to know who the interviewer is. And you may find that out a little bit before the interview. And then the company that you're looking at, the job that you're going to go for. So what's the interviewer's name? What is the company? All of that can be added in right here. But what you also need to note here is that if you can't think of an interviewer, maybe you want to go through the exercise, but you don't have an interviewer's name in mind, nor a company in mind. Then what you can do is you can simply ask Copilot to do a little bit of an experimentation with us here. So what we can do is I'm going to add it in right here. I'm going to tell it that I don't have an interviewer name in mind nor a company, but generate information about a typical interviewer for a typical organization. So let's see what it does for us here. And now we're going to let it kind of take a little look. Remember that the Work tab and the Web tab, the Work tab uses work information and the large language model, and then also searching the web if it's enabled. And the Web tab uses the large language model and searching the web if it's enabled. So it's going to go through and it's going to give us below is a realistic composite example. So you either know an interviewer in a company, or you can enter it right here to have it give us a little bit of an example, a general example. So we will look at this and we can see this is not a real person, but it made kind of a typical organization profile for an interviewer named Alex Martinez here. And you can see companies often assign interviewers based on role alignment rather than their seniority alone. And so it's giving us a little bit of what would normally happen during an interview process here, deciding who's going to interview us, and then notice the role of the role he has in the organization. This Alex Martinez here is a senior manager for marketing strategy. And notice as we go down, you can see the department, who they report to. And so it's trying to give us a little rundown of the interviewer here. Notice too their professional background, so you can kind of look to see, where they have their experience, marketing strategy, a related business function. And you're going to see too, they begin their career a little bit ago, and they're going to give a lot of backstory about the interviewer. So you can use that to try to connect. Maybe you can see here too that we're going to go through the list and they've worked in sales or in product or in finance or in data and analytics. And you want to match that up So they have a contact here as their interviewer, trying to know who they are a bit, trying to figure that out, the strategy for connecting with them, but also getting past this first interview. So knowing your interviewer is key here. And then why Alex is interviewing you. They're giving you a little bit more about that. Hiring people can deliver results with minimal micromanagement. Give me a little bit about this person and what they're responsible for. What is their thinking like? And one of the things that Alex could be thinking is, will this person make my team and my job better 6 months from now? And so definitely we want to take certain things like that from the interviewer. He's going to ask us potentially for longevity. And if not asked, I'm sure I will be asked a question that I want to definitely answer. And then the interviewer typically evaluates role competency. And they're trying to figure out if you can do this job. And they're trying to see if you are a strategic thinker and can connect your work to business outcomes and you can solve problems, even if you're given kind of an ambiguous scenario. And you can see the communication stakeholder management there. And they're looking to see, too, that you can actually fit into the culture. And so maybe questions about the culture internally for the company that you're applying to might be a good one, too, to have Copilot help your research. And then ask questions of Alex. What is he likely to ask? And we're going to ask that in a few moments here. We may want to walk through a project, or he may want us to walk with us through a project here that we've owned from end to end. So some typical questions that you may get there and what he's listening for: clear thinking, accountability, business impact, self-awareness, confidence without arrogance, which sometimes is hard to do. And then red flags: blaming others, vague results, inflexibility over indexing on tools, but not outcomes. And there are really good points to keep in mind during an interview. And then how to prepare specifically. So framing answers using outcomes, qualifying whenever possible here, revenue impact, growth, things like that, judgment. So these are all good things. Ask smart, forward-looking questions. So this is really doing kind of an in-depth for us about typically what we would see from an interviewer, and if we're really, what the company is really looking for. So you can see they are outcome-focused, and they're usually busy. And as you know, all of us are really busy, but they're usually busy. And so we want to be concise, clear with our answers. And they want to know that we have a confidence so that they can hire us. And those are all kinds of outcomes. Okay, so this is good. Now, another question we could ask is we could have Copilot give us a little bit more of an overview of the company that we're thinking of going with. And when we do this, notice that we may have a company in mind that we want to put in here. Maybe also we have a department that we want to work for. And so you can change these out as needed. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this a little bit more generic. So I can go with this if you know which company and which department you're looking to get hired with. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually change this out, and I'm going to make it a little bit more, general here. So provide me with an overview of a typical organization, and can you tell me about where we're going to work towards marketing innovations? Maybe that's the department we're trying to hire into. And so we're going to go ahead and we're going to add it, and it's going to take a moment to give us a little bit more. So notice this is a realistic overview of a typical mid to large modern organization. And so I'm going to give it a little bit more about the information it needs. Now, maybe I'm trying to work with a medium-sized company or maybe a small company, and we could gear it towards that so we can refine our prompts to fit that. And then note, too, it's giving us a typical overview of a larger company. And you can see how the executive leadership would be formed. Different people who are usually part of this process in the typical major departments. And so one of these that you can focus on is marketing. And then for the marketing innovation department, it's giving us a little overview of what this department does. Its future-focused function. It is a role, it's an experiment. It tests, it scales new ideas for reaching customers. And so this is what we thought the department did. Maybe we didn't, but we want to refine our prompt here. And then where it usually sits in the org, it usually reports to the VP of marketing, the head of growth, or the CMO. And its mission and purpose is usually to drive sustainable growth by identifying, testing, and scaling innovative marketing approaches ahead of competitors. And so you can see a little bit more about it. It gives you some of the core responsibilities. Now, if we knew the company and the exact department we were trying to interview for, we could definitely get some really good insights into it. But this is giving us insights to a research in marketing innovation role. So it's giving us a little bit more here. And then the typical roles that are performed within marketing innovation, what they do. So we have a lot of insight from here. What success looks like, that's a good one. What does success look like? Key performance indicators, speed of insight, cost efficiency, lift in engagement or conversion, scalability here for success, pilots here. And so what does failure look like? The lack of learning is not a failure here. But notice how they work day to day so we can work through this common challenges. It's a lot of good stuff. So we want to spend a little bit of time here and please note too, that these are prompts that are running in the background. And if you're not seeing the exact same results as me, remember this is a generative AI. So we can all ask it almost the same question and get back different results based on how it learned and how it interprets the information and how it does a search on the internet if it's available. And then it comes up with different answers. But the goal here is that we want to be able to research the company that we'd like to interview with. And we want to find out also, a little bit more about that department and who the interviewer is. And most importantly, I'm going to add this in right now, generate a list of potential questions that I might be asked in the interview. So this is a critical part of this whole process. To get hired is not only studying the organization, studying the interviewer, but finding out more about the job, but also potential questions, and then reviewing those potential questions. So it's trying to give you some general background questions that you might be asked. And it's also giving us marketing innovation and strategy questions that we're likely to be asked. And what I want to do is, besides looking at these questions and trying to see if I can answer them personally, I can also enlist Copilot to help me answer these questions. So I can ace my interview here. And we definitely need to practice some and review the questions here that we might be asked during the interview. So this could be very helpful. Maybe you want to do this by yourself, or maybe you want to enlist maybe a friend of yours. So again, the emphasis here on questions that you might get during an interview. They may not be the exact ones, but they're definitely the essence of what you might get for this role. And you can also see there's a lot of questions in here that you may want to review and kind of have an idea of what the answer should be, what the answer to some of these questions should be. Now, keep in mind, too, that you might ask Copilot to give you an example of responses to these questions, so that this is a good option here. And we're going to do that in just a moment. I want to kind of show you here all the questions, just kind of go through the questions, and you can see there's quite a lot of them. I guess my favorite here, honestly, is the pro tip. They're trying to figure out how you think and how you learn, how you reflect on outcomes, and how you adapt your approach. These are all perfect. So what you want to do is we want to ask it to draft answers for the questions in the previous response. So that's what we want. So it'll take a little bit. And I'm going to run through the responses for each of the questions. And then we can use this in a way to prepare ourselves. And again, you might want to find a friend to help, do Q&A with you, do mock interviews with you. And you can see some of the questions and responses here. kind of perfecting what we did. What's your story? So this is because this would be a very helpful in the interview process to go over the answers. So part of the interview process is not only researching the interviewer and the company and the role and the department that you want to be part of, it's also knowing the questions that they might ask, but having the answers and answers that are authentic to you. That is the process here. And I want to have answers that are authentic to me. So here we get a huge list of answers to some of our questions. Now, all of this is a lot of information to digest. So what I might want to do is I might want to take some of the results that I have here, and I might want to go through and actually put this in a Word document so that I can refer to it. And you're seeing it here. It went through all the questions, and it's giving you answers that we could maybe use here to answer these questions. And again, you want to personalize it for yourself. Make certain that it's authentic to you. And what you want to see here is at the very end, I'm going to capture all this information into a Word document. So I'm going to tell Copilot to create a Word document here with this output. And it will take it just a moment to go through the process. And it will create a little Word document, and we can get into that Word document and we can take a closer look at it. And we could also save this, and maybe like frequently asked questions document we could create here that will help us research the role that we're going to be interviewing for. And so we can get this running in just a moment here. And then one of the things that you'll do too is you'll have Outlook create for us in a Copilot sample, a sample thank you email. Because after the interview, we definitely want to send a thank you out to our interviewer. So we'll just wait a moment here for it to create the Word document. And sometimes it takes a little bit of time to go through the process here. The model that we have here is quick, but it can do a little bit of a deep dive here to kind of help us create this. So it's going to take a little bit of time to do this. And then while we're waiting for this document, it seems like it's pulling it together. Okay, now let's see. It's still thinking. And we'll see it, let it do its thinking here. While it's doing that, let's go ahead and have it do an email. So I'm going to go back into our apps here. I'm going to open up our Outlook. And I'm going to see it right here. And I'm going to I'm going to go into Outlook, and I'm going to go in, and I'm going to have it help us draft a thank you note for our recent interview. So here is Copilot over here. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on the three dots, and I'm going to click on open to full app. And when I do that, it takes just a moment, and it should open. It should open up for us in full screen. And I'm going to be on the web tab here, and I'm going to click inside the prompt. And so you can see that it could actually use Copilot Chat in a lot of areas. And you can use it in Teams, you can use it in Outlook. And we'll see it in a bit that you can also use it in Word. And we'll spend some time using it in a lot of different M365 apps, which is part of this course. And let's go ahead and let's have it draft a thank you note for a recent interview. And it's going to give us some templates. So here's a professional and polite one we can use, most common one that people use, an example of that. Notice that it's asking us to put in maybe a name and a phone number besides our name. And then here's one that's engaged, and it's slightly more personal. So again, you can use this. You have a bunch of templates you can pick up with here. You have to give it some information, but you can make certain that it's authentic. So you do want to take a little bit of time to personalize this. This is a good starting point. And then it gives us some pro tips to spend within 24 hours here and the interview kind of preparing. Mention one specific detail from the conversation. And it's hard sometimes, a maximum of 200 words. And then make certain that you've proofread it and that it has titles and that you name the people before you send it out. So we could use this very easily. We could save these. We could copy it. We could also take this and save it in Word if we wanted to do that. We could also click right here and export it to Word. And that way we can use this and save this as a template. So that's another option. So I'm going to go back to Teams for a moment and see if we have some progress there. And it went through all its reasoning. So it did a really good job. But here it is in Word. And so I'm going to click on this and we're going to open this up. And I'm going to see it right here in Word. And once I do that, it takes a little bit to open it. But here it is. It's all right here. So it gave us this information in the Word document, and I can enable editing, and I can use the navigation here. But I also, as you know, I can go and use Copilot from here too. So I can do it in Word if I want. You'll also notice there's both a work and a web tab here too, and I can ask it more questions. I could have done my research from right here if I wanted to. But notice too that I can select portions of my file here. And there's like a lot of pages in here. And I can click on this, a little edit. I can go in and do a little bit more rewriting of this section. And so coming into work, we can see that there's a lot of places to find Copilot. And I'm hoping that you enjoyed this lab. Again, when we work with this lab, we did the inside of Teams, and all the prompts are available in our courseware. I encourage you to test your knowledge with this real-time quiz. Here is a great sample prompt to help you test your knowledge on Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat. As an expert in the Microsoft 365 Copilot, create 3 multiple-choice questions on how Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat functions. Present all the questions together and wait for my response. After I answer, briefly explain the correct answer before moving on to the next question. Feel free to add a little bit more here if you'd like, more than 3 questions, multiple choice questions if you want to do that, for a deeper review of our content. Now let's take a look at our knowledge check. First question. A team member is preparing for a client pitch and needs to reference both company, internal, and public, external information in one place. Which feature of Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat can assist in gathering all documents related to the project? Answer: work mode. Question 2. A team member is preparing for a meeting about a product launch and needs to gather information. They decide to use Copilot Chat in Teams. What should they type into the message Copilot dialog? Answer: type find information on product launch for X. This module introduced Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat as your productivity accelerator, an AI assistant that works seamlessly across apps like Teams and Outlook to help you work smarter, faster, and more creatively. We explored how Copilot Chat operates in 2 powerful modes: work mode, which uses your organization's Microsoft Graph data for personalized, secure insights, and web mode, which taps into public web information for research, trends, and a broader context. We also learned that Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat adapts to either work-grounded or web-grounded data to give you the right information at the right time. It uses built-in enterprise-grade security to keep your data protected and compliant. It also enhances your productivity and creativity by helping you summarize, analyze, ideate, and get more done with less effort. To continue your AI skilling, make sure to watch other videos in this course or explore more on Microsoft Learn at aka.ms/learn. Thank you for tuning in. I look forward to seeing you in our next module.